commercialized immersion cooling. We started out in Austin, Texas, and the idea was let's take some of the ideas, kind of old classic ideas, transformer oil, that technology, liquid cooling, and remake it for the new data center, because now what we're dealing with is increased densities. So a lot of our initial customers were in the supercomputing industry and people who are using high density. So a lot of that's very much HPC, high performance computing.
Right.
There's quite a bit of overlap between HPC, supercomputers, and actually like oil and gas customers.
Right.
So those were some of our first customers. A lot of these people are using GPUs or other high density equipment, and they're having trouble cooling this.
Right.
So your data center, your traditional data center is like 5 to 10 kilowatts a rack, right? And then we come in and we can do over 100 kilowatts a rack. And we can do this extremely energy efficiently. So let's say your typical data center. Are you familiar at all with PUE? All right, so PUE is just a measurement of the total power used over the power used by the IT.
Okay.
So, for example, 1.7 PUE would mean if you had a megawatt of IT, you're using another 700 kilowatts to cool it, to run the lights, everything like that. Super inefficient.
Yeah.
Ours is about 3 to 5%. So to give you another example, let's say we have that 1,000 kilowatts, right?
Right.
All right, we remove fans. By removing fans on servers, you actually cut down the power usage on that server.
Right.
So about 10 to 30% for a traditional server or GPU. Antminers were about 5 to 10%. So right now, remember we started out at 1,000 kilowatts. Let's say, they should be conservative and say we remove it 10%, so we're at 900 kilowatts. Now you add in another 5% cooling overhead, so 45 kilowatts. You're able to power and cool those servers for 945 kilowatts, which is less than an air-cooled center would use just to power.
Oh my gosh, that is incredible.
Yeah, we've done this. So our hash tank. So this is actually a picture of.
So you really are using shipping
We were
containers.
literally.
That's so cool.
I can send you pictures and stuff.
Yeah.
So we actually started the containerized data center for the U.S. Air Force.
Did you really?
Yeah, so we're working with the U.S. Air Force. We built a number of them right now. We're working on some more. And they've validated it. They've written a report. So what we were able to do is we could build this out. This is a 20-foot container. We have a cooling tower or dry cooler on this. It's integrated. We can do PDUs, we can do networking, we can do pretty much everything you want. It's just dependent on the client. With the hash tank, it's very much a turnkey solution.
Right.
We're trying to do as much as possible. With a certain customer, we may do less. It's just dependent.
Right.
So the idea is, okay, we can move this. We can use this in hot weather. We can use this in cold weather. We can use this in the desert. We can use it in the jungle, and it can be done. So we have Air Force bases who are using this for their network. They can build this out much quicker.
Right. Yeah.
So
Obviously,
this could be 12 to 16 weeks, which compared to building out a data center could take a year or more. Much more expensive.
Yeah, the overhead. I mean, alone.
Yeah, it's also the permitting.
Right. Yeah.
The permitting,
Yeah.
and this is not a permanent structure, so the regulation around this is much less.
That's incredible. And it's something that you're like, well, why didn't I think of that?
I know.
Oh,
But
my gosh.
it is. I would say it is years of engineering and learning that gets us to this point. We're always learning new things, and we're always trying to make improvements. We're going to be working on a new generation. But yeah, so we took our experience with this, and then we've built out over 10 megawatts of data center.
This is cool.
Yeah.
This data center. You've got to send me a picture of this.
Yeah, I'll send you some pictures.
But that is so cool.
So we built out in a traditional data center.
Right.
So the idea was, okay, coming to 2017, stuff's getting more popular, more busy.
Right.
we're getting a lot of hits, a lot of interest. What we're dealing with is customers who don't really understand what is really required for a data center. You know, a lot of people, they think, oh, I'll just get 1,000 amp miners and put it in a warehouse and I just
That'll
walk
be
away.
it. Yeah, leave it alone.
I'm going to be rich. No. A,
Somebody has to babysit them for
yeah,
you.
well, yeah, and it's not even that. It's how are you going to cool this?
Yeah,
this is
exactly.
amount of
Caring
heat.
for it. Yeah.
That is, 1,000 amp miners is going to be 1.5 to 2 megawatts of power or more, depending on your cooling, because you still have that cooling above that, because the fans just move air.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
They're rejecting the heat from the unit. They're not rejecting the heat from
All
the building.
together, right.
So that heat has to get out somehow. We do our liquid cooling, which is 1,200 times the heat capacity by volume compared to air. So, if you think about it this way, it's pretty nice weather out here in New York. I don't know, 70s, I think we were 60s, 70s?
I think it's high 60s.
High 60s, okay, it's high 60s now. Perfect. Walk around, I can wear this, maybe a blazer. What if you were in a pool that was 60 degrees? How long do you think you could last in there? Not long.
Right.
So that's essentially, that's the kind of the best way of kind of showing how the difference in cooling capacity and heat capacity with air at 70 degrees versus liquid at 70 degrees.
Yeah.
So yeah, we had a lot of people who were very interested, but they don't have the data center knowledge. We were getting a lot of people who are like kind of hedge funds, investment bankers. You're seeing institutional. You're not necessarily data center people.
Right.
So we were like, okay, we've already done this.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't we spec this out for something bigger?
Right.
Which requires a lot of work, because it's one thing to cool 100 kilowatts. It's another thing to cool 100 kilowatts per rack.
Right.
So our 40-foot container is maxing out at 670 kilowatts. 2/3 of a megawatt. You could be spending $400,000 or more a year on power. And so kind of part of the savings is much more energy efficient. So think about, if you're spending $400,000 a year and you can save 10%, it's $40,000 a year. That's nice. That adds up.
Absolutely.
And then ultimately is, we're here, we did custom smart PDUs, 200 amp PDUs. They have monitoring. We have a whole monitoring software that we built up for the rack, so we can check on cooling. We have alerts.
Right.
We do all the modifications necessary. For our hash tank, we can really, what we say is, you need to give us a concrete pad, give us water, give us power, give us internet and firewall, and you're good.
You'll do the rest.
And we can do the amp miners. You guys can do the amp miners, whatever, or
Right.
whatever equipment we can do.
Okay.
Hash rack is a little more of a higher scope of work on their end, because they're having to do electrical distribution and everything like that. So so that's really where we came from, and now we're just working on making it more efficient. We're working with some customers doing custom stuff.
Yeah.
So it is an interesting field, and it's been a busy year, and just
So cool. So cool.